Hello, hi there everybody, and welcome to my Facebook page, or welcome to my YouTube channel. Depends on where you're watching this. This is being recorded live by me, Bella, the Secret Psychic. And if you don't know anything about me, if you're watching on YouTube, just look below because there's all the information you need to know, including links and how you can join my Facebook community. Or if you're watching on Facebook and you're already part of my community, hello. And all the information or any information about my services are just up above if you're watching on Facebook. So today's live feed is on karma, and my question was to my Facebook community, which is the title of this live talk, is do you believe in karma? So if you are there in Facebook land, and I've just realised as I've just switched to my phone to see who was there, they didn't turn the sound down, told you I was live. And also if you're there in to YouTube land, say hi as well. We've got a few people already joining me. We've got Aurora and Tracy and Amy. Hi, glad to see you here. And so we're going to be covering sort of, well, as for those of you who watched me before, my version of things as given to me by my spirit guides, because that's how I work in general when I do my services. And hi Dawn as well. Nice to see you here. So as we go along, you know, maybe you have questions about karma, maybe you have an existing belief. Say if you believe it or if you don't believe it. And then as we go along with what I have to say, then see if it is aligned to what you believe, or whether it's different, whether it's going to make you think about things in a slightly different way. And so then perhaps the normal traditional understanding of karma in its greatest format. Just very quickly though, I am running a competition for those of you who are not on my Facebook page and are watching on YouTube. I'm feeling love because, you know, in a couple of days time it is Valentine's Day, and because of that I'm running a competition to give a free reading to people. And if you want to participate in that, then just jump over to my Facebook community, and all the information is there. It's a free 20-minute Skype call, no matter where you are in the world, and I will be announcing the winner live on my Facebook community tomorrow evening here UK time. And also for those of you, I have started doing my daily live card draws as well. So if you want to have a daily guidance, then do again join my Facebook community, because all of that is happening there. It's a happening community, isn't it, guys? Anyway, so hello Tammy, nice to see you here. So we are going to start talking about karma, and just before we do, we're going to talk about, I guess, what people traditionally think about karma. So some people believe that karma is what goes around comes around. Or is it? Well, karma is from very Eastern traditions, so Buddhism, and it lies in Hinduism as well. Believes that in this traditional format, people believe that karma means that you are paying either for some bad things that you may have done in a past life, or even bad things you've done in this life. That lots of things are designed by fate, and as a result of that, you are paying for something. Karma can also be, and it's good because obviously I've just highlighted some of the negatives. It can be that, you know, if you're a good person, some people believe if you're a good person, then good karma will happen to you, so on and so forth. You know, again, if you have a different meaning, just type it out and tell me what you think. But this is, in the very basics, the traditional kind of view, or the very basic, or maybe it's been westernized, but there's definitely the very verbatim sort of text when it comes from what most people believe that karma is. And you see lots of quotes everywhere, some very funny ones, you know, in terms of karma is a bitch and karma will get you and don't worry, I need to do all that. And it's helped us all to maintain that kind of thought, that if you do something bad, then the universe or somehow it will be held onto and given back to us at some point in time. Which, if you think about that, none of us are perfect. If we, you know, if for every bad thing that we might have done, thought, or said, that's a lot of bad stuff to happen. And some people might be thinking, well, you know, gosh, you know, I've had a really terrible life. I must have had a really bad one. And that's where the thinking is a little bit wrong, because it implies that there's some higher force that has chosen to punish us when we don't learn in a correct way. And that's not the reality of how I'm showing things. And for those of you who see my other videos on source energy, on soul contracts, you'll know what I mean. And if you don't, go and watch those videos. They're on my Facebook video listing and also on my YouTube channel. Because as I see it, we are all part of that God, that source. We are creators. And so therefore, anything that, and any experience that we have decided to go through, we have decided to go through it. And that's sometimes can feel quite hard, particularly if we've had a really challenging time. But hopefully those videos that I've done earlier will explain that more, how you need the darkness in order to have the light, how you need the contrast sometimes. How will you know that something is good if you don't have the perspective of the other? So with that in mind, before I go on to kind of talk about my version or my guide's version or source's version of what karma truly means, and I'll let you be the judge of whether I'm correct or not correct. And again, happy to have a healthy debate. Just type it out in the comment section. I'm just going to go through a little bit of sort of info on karma and its history as well. So just going to move to another slide. So the word karma literally means action. If you translate it, it means action. Now that's important to hold on to that. It doesn't mean fate. It doesn't mean you know, something bad. It means action. And it actually comes from the old Sanskrit word kra. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's kr, it's kra, which means to act. So that's important as we go along in my explanation. And here we've got three words which I'm going to pronounce: Sanchita, Parada, and Agami. Now they literally mean past, present, future. So in karma, people believe that we store up bad karma from past lives. So something we did, said, or done in a past life or many past lives, we are somehow have been reincarnated to actually suffer them, suffer those consequences, suffer that karma in this incarnation. In our present existence, people believe, if you go by the Eastern or the old traditions, or what people believe when it comes to karma, that people believe that even in our present, so we've got all that bad karma apparently, and some good one too, that we've carried over, and then in our present, our present existence, we've got to be careful because we've got all this baggage already. And now if we do or say anything wrong in this lifetime, my gosh, we're in a lot of trouble, aren't we? We have to think holier than thou. And then you've got future karma. So you've got, because you're in this present existence, what it is you say or do that's good or bad is going to affect whether you have good or bad karma in the future, which in turn will have a knock-on effect in your future life if you choose to have it as well. That's a lot. That's a lot of having to be good for a lot of lifetimes if you believe in reincarnation. And again, I do have some videos on that very subject, particularly the one named Soul Contracts. That's a lot. Even with good, even if you were a saint through all of that, that's a whole lot of existence trying very hard to be good and not bad. And as much as we all would love to have peace, and as much as we'd like to have everybody in our life to be good, I think about it in this existence. If there was no controversy, if there was nothing bad, if there was nothing shocking, would we really be that happy in this human existence? Would we be lacking or expecting a lack because of how the third dimension of this human experience is set up? Maybe, maybe not. So it is a lot of responsibility, Dawn. It is definitely a lot of responsibility. Just think about it like that. It's something to, I guess, question, basically whether, life or given life that we've chosen to live should be walking on eggshells quite that badly. So this is how my guides explain it to me. It's also what I believe as well, so that's good because that's when me and my guides are on the same side, because I kind of probably believed this way before I was able to have contact with my spirit guides and before I started doing psychic work. But basically, and I have put the boomerang there because in a sense, what is right about karma is that what actions you put out, or more importantly, what thoughts you send out to the universe, into your perspective as you live in this human experience, and it is an experience, what you put out and what you think about does come back to you, but not quite in the way that karma is explained. You need to kind of think about it, maybe not like a boomerang, but more like a magnet. What we think, we attract. We are creators. We are part of source energy. We are part of it all. And our intentions affect our actions. So you've got to think about it like, gosh, I'm going deep, so just bear with me. I'm trying to think of simplifying this for you. When we choose to have human experience, and again, it probably would make sense with some of my other videos, but because I don't want to go over everything, because otherwise it would just become that kind of video. But what we think we create, and the source or the universe or God, all it cares about is what we think about. When we set our intentions in this lifetime, we also set contracts, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. And when we set our intentions, sometimes in our human existence, we may set intentions to have certain challenges, to have some experiences, good and bad, so that we are affecting overall expansion, that we are ever progressing, ever learning, ever expanding in our corporeal selves. So we don't bring baggage with us. Basically, what we do is we've lived an experience with good and bad and all indifference, and then when we decide again to come into another human existence, we may say to ourselves, actually, I might like the opposite. I'd like to be on the other side of that. Why? Because I'd like to gain perspective. I'd like to learn. I'd like to expand. So it's not about owing because you did something wrong. You have chosen to say, actually, I'd like to be on the receiving end of something, or I'd like to be the giver of something, in order to see the contrast, that light and that darkness, in order so that I can get a different perspective, so that I can then expand, and so that source can expand. Now, because we are creators, whatever we think, good or bad, we will attract to us. This is where the law of attraction applies. And for those of you who've done law of attraction, those of you who know about manifesting, what you think about happens. So me sitting here today, before I've done this live stream, I thought about what it is I'm going to say, in the order I'm going to say it, and then I apply karma. And what I mean is I apply action. Behind that thought, I'm now doing the action. I'm now sitting here live talking to you after thinking about it. I'm doing it now. This is the action. And then as a result of this, people are either going to love it or they're going to hate it. One of the two. But that's fine, because this is my perspective. And those of you who are watching this, you thought about, oh, I'm thinking about watching Bella tonight, or on repeat. And you took an action to actually watch it. I'm trying to be very literal, because what I'm trying to demonstrate to you, if I am doing it good, is that with every thought, there is karma. So with every thought, there is action. And then if you think about it, not like a boomerang, like a magnet, when we think about it, it comes to us. And how we act will determine whether that is a good experience or a bad experience. It also determines what it is we're thinking about that we draw to us. So we're thinking about stress, or we're thinking about something not going to happen. We're thinking that we're always in the same boat, and I must have done something really bad in a past life, you know, for this to be happening. Or what did I do? What did I do? How can I make amends? Should I pray on it? No. Just change your intentions, because your intentions affect your actions. Your thoughts affects your karma. It affects your actions. It affects what is drawn to you, what you are aligned to. Because that's how the law of attraction works. Our thoughts and what we believe, more importantly, what we believe in, draws things to us. And if we're having, and once we have that awakening, and once we understand that principle, and it's, you know, it's very easy for me to say, and you think, okay, great, I just changed my thoughts. It takes practice, because you've been living however long you have been on this planet, living a certain way, believing that doesn't happen. So you've got to spend some time to train your mind to believe that that happens. And again, I've talked about how to do that, how you can trick your brain, how to do that, particularly if you're as old as me and you're only just starting to understand the law of attraction and how to change that and change your mind. Once you do that, then karma in the traditional sense, particularly if you do or say something bad, or you do or say some actions, then of course bad stuff will happen, because there's been bad thoughts and bad intentions and bad actions behind it. But if you change that and believe in abundance and joy and positivity and light and love and all those sort of things, then guess what you will be aligned to? Guess what you will be magnetically drawing to you? All of those things. And that's why I go on about self-love, because when you self-love, guess what else you attract? More love from other people. What we think happens, basically. And that is really what karma truly means. Amy says she's such a worrier, and I need to shift that. I would agree about shifting it. I think, you know, we all have times when we worry about things, including me. But it's having that awareness that when that happens, that you take a moment to go, okay, Bella, you know, what's going on? Take a chill pill and just kind of use some techniques that I've talked about before in order to help focus your mind so that that switches off. Karen Ralph says, Bella, why is it that we don't know our soul contracts come into this earth? Well, we do choose to. Some of us don't. So some of us, so when I talked about indigos, are born awaken, and most of us don't. And if you can imagine it, like if you could really remember all your past lives, then it would really affect your experience and your perspective in this reality, because you'd be like, well, I know where I'm from, and I don't really need to learn that. I can coast through life. We're here to learn. We're here to expand. And it's a bit like a computer if you download it with too much stuff, because we are in our human experience, not our non-corporeal experience, which is all of everything. We can hold on to a mountain full of information, but in your human vessel, you might pop. So that's partly why as well, but mainly because it's a bit like cheating. It's like doing your homework. If you've got to think of us all like children, if someone does your assignment for you, you don't really learn, you don't gain experience, you don't gain a perspective. and that's partly why. Hello Phil, and Caroline says I better change my thoughts. Yes, it's hard, really is, you know, but with practice, and it is a cognitive thing, because in our human experience there are lots of psychological things that go on that stop us from doing that, and that includes other people. But once you start to do it, trust me, it really does work. It really does work, and works quite quickly as well. And again, I've got some free downloads on my site. If you go to the free download section, there is one, there was a video done on manifesting anyway, but there's also a free audio, and I believe there's a free worksheet. Yes, there is. There's a free worksheet to teach you how to write down your intentions as well. So just going to go to another screen. So there are, when I talked about that, there are some things that again people will understand that and or would have heard of things like, oh, I've got a karmic connection, or I feel like I know that person from my past and maybe something karmic is happening here. Again, it's not necessary that you're owed something or you need to pay a penance back to somebody, because that implies that we're all judged harshly. And basically, when you have karmic connections with people, and they don't necessarily have to be love connections, they can be our parents, they can be our children. Again, you have arranged or agreed or decided to have an experience, but you may have also decided to have a contract with somebody to help them with an experience, or for them to help you with an experience. And that includes those that give us not very good experiences, that actually really they're probably a true friend honouring something that you've actually agreed to go through. So a karmic soul connection is to advance our learning and our growth, and normally they are faced with some kind of challenge, not necessarily awful. Sometimes they can be awful, but sometimes they're there. And if you look back in your life, for every bad thing that happened, there was always a learning, and there was always the contrast, the light, because it changed your perspective on things. It made you go in a different direction, and things got better, hopefully. And if they didn't, then you're still going through that process of understanding, and at some point you will. So, Bella, is my friendship with D karmic? Well, the fact that you answer that means yes. And my guides say yes too. So Dawn says, I needed this perspective. It's so hard to change, to stop these worries or these negative thoughts, especially if you're absorbing other people's energy as well. Yes. And if you are a light worker, or you're just empathic, and most people know you're empathic, or maybe you don't know you're empathic, but if you're a highly anxious person and do worry a lot, but you're a good person by nature, then probably you have that ability. In fact, we all have an extrasensory ability of some kind, but some of us don't know how to tap into it as much as others. But everybody can learn. And it is, once you manage to control what goes on here, everything changes. Your whole reality changes. And that's why I did the last live feed about opening your third eye, because that also helps with that expansion and getting a new perspective on things. But basically what I'm trying to tell you is, anything good or bad, and I know it's hard because some of you would have had awful experiences, and also we can see the world, and we can see how the world has some awful experiences that you would think, well, why would anybody choose to do that? Well, when we're not in our 3D perspective and we're in our higher self, part of source, it's different. It's a different perspective. We see things differently. But we have chosen to come into this human aspect where it is very sort of, let's say, tunnel visioned, in order to gain those contrasts, the good and the bad, the indifferent and the horrid, and the wonderful, all to add to expansion of ourselves, but also to source as well. So, just before I rattle on, I'm going to, I think my YouTube is spinning. So I don't know what that means. Find out afterwards whether this is recorded. But if you're watching live on YouTube, I can't see any of your comments, so I do apologise. But Technology, eh? Next time. So, just to wrap this up a little bit, because karma can be individual, so obviously we set our contracts or intentions, but like I've said to people before in other videos, you can actually change your contracts. Once you become awakened, you can now set your intentions. So some things are fixed to a degree because you've agreed them, but you might say to yourself, you know what, I've had enough challenges in my life, you know. I'm going to change the script completely, and I'm going to make it more abundant because I'm going to change my thoughts and change my intentions. And you have the right to do that because you are the creator, you are perfection. But sometimes we also are part of a bigger collective. We've come into this generation, let's say, to affect a change of some kind. And also we go into some cultures also to believe in things and to affect change and energy shifts. And sometimes people believe, because karma's got different words, so like in Japan they can call it yukidishi. I hope I pronounced that right, but it basically is 3 years of bad luck, and depending on your birth date, at some point in your life you'll have that 3-year window of bad luck. And people believe it, they put their energy into believing that, because it's not just them, it's a bulk of people that will believe that that is going to happen. So guess what happens in those 3 years? Bad luck. Marriages break up, they lose the job, you know, they stub the toe. Things bad happen. But if you believe and you understand how energy, how source, how we as creators work, and how the law of attraction works, then actually you can bypass that traditional belief that lots of people, not just one person, puts their energy into, that everybody can. You're not getting karma, because that's what that version of karma is. You get it all in the 3 years, which, that would be quite awful. I think some of us have gone through periods where it's been 3 years of horridness, but again, once you understand that you can change that, you can change that for yourself. Basically, what it is you think persists. What you worry about will continue to be magnetically drawn to you. Karma is not about pain. It is not about revenge. What it is about perspective. It's about our intentions, our actions, and what we believe. And what it is we believe will be drawn to us. And that also includes, for those of you who do believe in karma in the traditional sense, that because you believe it and you set your intentions that you hope somebody gets their just desserts, and probably more than likely from your perspective they will. Because again, the universe is bringing to you what it is that you desire. Do you understand? Because there's probably been plenty of you, and I've been guilty of it myself, saying, don't worry, karma will get them. Because I'm really mad at them. And actually, because I've set my intention that way, then it will. But it doesn't mean it's also come back to me. Because that's not how the universe works. It was designed that way so that people believed it as a form of control. You know, it's a bit like when people say you're going to go to hell. It's a form of control to keep people in line, to keep them doing good, which is not a bad thing to help people to believe, because obviously there is a lot of horridness sometimes in this existence, but all for a designed purpose. So I do hope that my little ramblings that I do every week are being useful. Again, if you have liked this, do like, subscribe, do share, do comment, do say why you've enjoyed this. Anything you need to know about me, my community at Facebook, my services are all either down below or up above, depending on what you're watching. Again, I'm running the competition on a free 20-minute Skype call with one lucky winner that I'll be announcing tomorrow night live. So if you haven't entered, then please do. I'm looking forward to writing out individually all those names and pulling them from a hat. So I've got quite a lot already, so I'm really, really pleased. And I'm so pleased, I have to say, all the beautiful comments that people have wrote in it in terms of what it is that they find that they love. It's lovely to hear people talk about their wives and their partners and their children, You know, feeling the love. Love, as you know, heals the world. I'm being the hippie now, but it's true. And love, when we think about that and we believe that, guess what happens? Karma, magnetically drawing your intentions towards you. So, if I leave you with anything, I would say here, imagine karma like a flower. If you had a seed and you had to put it in a pot and you had to grow that flower and you had to water it and nurture it, maybe talk to it a little bit, you'd watch it and nurture it grow into a beautiful flower. Treat yourself like that, like a seed, like a plant, like a flower that needs to be delicately taken care of, to be watered, to be fed, till it blooms. Treat yourself like that and you will only ever draw good karma or good abundance to you. So thank you everybody. Mwah! And I shall see you, for some of you on Facebook, I'll see